In the village of Afshana, near Bukhara, a child was born in the year 980. His name was Abu Ali al-Hussein ibn Abdullah ibn Sina. People would later call him Ibn Sina, or in the West, Avicenna. He was a slender boy with sharp, curious eyes that seemed to hold 1,000 questions. His hair was dark, slightly wavy, and often covered by a simple woolen cap. His robe was light and long, tied with a fabric belt at the waist, and a small cloak rested over his shoulders to keep out the chill winds of Bukhara. His hands were small but restless, always touching a book, a pen, or a scroll. He spoke softly, but with confidence, as if even then he already knew that words could change the world. By the age of 10, he had memorized the Quran completely. His father, a respected man working under the Samanid rulers, filled their home with scholars and discussions about philosophy, mathematics, and faith. But little Hussein wasn't satisfied with just listening. He wanted to understand how everything worked, the stars in the sky, the beating of the heart, the meaning behind words. In the early mornings he sat with the Quran, reciting its verses softly while light crept through the window. After prayers he would follow his father into the town. He watched merchants measure grains, doctors treat the sick, travelers share news of faraway lands. Everything fascinated him. He'd ask endless questions: why some medicines healed and others didn't, why people fell ill, why some recovered, and why others never did. When he was a little older, a man named Natili came to live in their house, a scholar of logic and philosophy. Hussein begged to study under him. Natili soon realized that his student was extraordinary, so bright, so quick, that the teacher began to run out of lessons to give. Hussein learned logic, geometry, and astronomy, then surpassed his tutor and moved on to study medicine on his own. When he turned 16, fate tested him. The ruler of Bukhara, Sultan Nuh ibn Mansur, fell dangerously ill. None of the physicians could find a cure. Hearing about the brilliant young scholar, the palace called him in. Ibn Sina examined the patient carefully, listened to his pulse, observed his eyes, smelled his breath, and asked quiet questions. After a while, he prescribed treatment. Within days, the Sultan recovered. The grateful ruler rewarded the boy not with gold, but with something far greater: access to the royal library. Imagine a room filled wall to wall with manuscripts from across the world, medicine from Greece, astronomy from India, philosophy from Persia, and the wisdom of earlier Muslim scholars. Ibn Sina spent months there, reading, studying, memorizing. He later said that this library was the turning point of his life. By the time he was 18, he claimed he had mastered every science known in his time. But mastery didn't mean pride. To him, knowledge was not power, it was worship to Allah. He often said that to study nature was to study the signs of God. Years passed, and the slender boy grew into a man of presence and wisdom. As he reached his mature age, Ibn Sina's appearance reflected both his intellect and his restless journey. His face had become finely shaped and expressive, framed by a neatly trimmed black beard that later turned to silver at the edges. His eyes, deep and thoughtful, held both the calm of a philosopher and the curiosity of a scientist. His skin bore the faint bronze of long travels across deserts and cities. He dressed in elegant but modest robes, usually white or cream, with a dark cloak that fell gracefully from his shoulders. Around his head he wrapped a clean turban, simple yet dignified, the sign of a scholar. When he spoke, people listened, not because of his power, but because his voice carried a rare balance of humility and certainty. He began writing his own books, hundreds of them, in medicine, in philosophy, in logic, astronomy, poetry, and theology. Out of nearly 450 treatises he wrote, more than 200 still survive today. His most famous work, Al-Qanun fi al-Tib, the Canon of Medicine, became the standard medical textbook in the Muslim world, and even in Europe for more than 600 years. It described diseases, treatments, anatomy, and the principles of health in a way no one had ever done before. But Ibn Sina didn't only write about medicine. In his great book Kitab al-Shifa, the Book of Healing, he explored the soul, the universe, and the nature of truth. He believed that human reason was a gift from God, and that through understanding the world one could come closer to understanding the Creator. His life was not an easy one. He traveled from city to city, Ray, Hamadan, Isfahan, serving kings as a physician and advisor. He lived through wars and political struggles, sometimes forced to flee, sometimes imprisoned. Yet even in prison, he wrote, he would ask for ink and paper and spend the night composing chapters of his books by lamplight. Despite his fame, he remained humble. He treated the poor for free. He never refused a patient, no matter their status. When someone asked him why he worked so tirelessly, he said, "To cure the body is to serve the soul, and to serve the soul is to serve God." In his later years, his health declined, but even then he never stopped reading, teaching, or writing. When he felt his end near, he purified his heart, gave away his belongings, freed his servants, and devoted his final days to prayer and charity. He died in 1037 at the age of 57 in the city of Hamadan. Centuries passed, but his name never faded. His books continued to guide doctors, philosophers, and scientists long after his death. For the Muslim children of today, Ibn Sina's life whispers a message across 1,000 years. Seek knowledge, because it is light. Question everything, because understanding creation is part of understanding the Creator. And never believe that Islam asks you to leave the world behind. It calls you to make it better. He began as a boy who memorized the Quran. He ended as a man who mapped the human mind. And in every page he wrote, he left behind a truth that still shines. Knowledge, when guided by faith, can heal more than the body. It can heal the world.